There's a clicker. You light. Somehow. I think it's just because there's so much rain today.
Good morning. Welcome to worship at the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock. I'm Jim Peters, your worship associate this morning. Our associate minister, Reverend Megan Henry, is at our all-congregation retreat. Our associate minister, Reverend David Carl Olson, is at his class reunion at Brown University. And our student minister, Brian Bauer, is home with his newborn daughter. Our congregation cherishes our lead minister in blessed memory, the late Reverend Dr. Natalie M. Fenimore. We miss her, and with her family, we'll remember her on Saturday with a celebration of life. Please join us in this worship room at 1 p.m. Whether you're a visitor, a newcomer, or a longtime member of this congregation, you're welcome here. Whether you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. In this community, we use science, reason, and an open heart to explore life's many mysteries. To learn more about this congregation and Unitarian Universalism, please visit our welcome desk or in the lobby, or go to our website, UUCSR.org. I invite you into the fuller life of our congregation. After this service, you may join us in the social hall in our Sunday cafe. There is a minimal charge for lunch, but if you are a first or second time visitor, lunch is on us. We want to allow our staff to celebrate this holiday with their families, so we will be closing the building an hour after the end of service this morning. Next Sunday, please join us as we celebrate LGBTQ Pride, Special guest musicians will be the Lavender Light Gospel Choir. Today, we are delighted to welcome to our pulpit Reverend Valerie Freseman. Reverend Freseman is completing an 8-year ministry with the Unitarian Universalists at Southold. So again, welcome, Reverend Freseman. Shelter Rock, we aspire to be a loving religious community where you can grow spiritually and build a more just and joyful world. You are welcome to join us on the journey.
Here we are together, bearers of imagination, creators of new worlds. It's our imagination that lifts us above despair, that whispers, "What if?" and dares to answer. Today, we gather to renew the spark, to embrace the power to dream. Come, let us imagine boldly and worship together. We kindle light, and with it, possibility, that we are more than the sum of our parts, that the world is more than a problem to solve, that illumination is more than a simple flame. We light the chalice and open to possibility. If you could join me in singing our opening hymn, number 298, Wake Now My Senses.
Please join me in a words and song of affirmation of this congregation. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve you in need. This we do affirm and covenant with each other. Please be seated. When we gather for worship, we share an opportunity toward living our Unitarian Universalist values in a world by acts of generosity to bring positive change. This Sunday, we are invited to support Port Together, a rapid response mutual aid network based in Port Washington, made up of immigrants and citizens alike. We offer solidarity and support to immigrant neighbors through Community Watch, legal services, education, mental health support, accompaniment, advocacy, and more. Confronting decades of anti-immigration laws and policies, we strive to create a community where everyone is valued, respected, and loved, and where everyone belongs. Please see the pew card for ways to give. Of course, everything in the screen, and old school is the collection box outside.
Spirit of life, when we are determined to cultivate hope, we come together in community, determined not to give in to the old or to the easy answers. We seek out even harder questions and push the boundaries of what is possible. Let us remember that each of us holds within us a garden of the mind that is watered by both courage and imagination. Together, in community, we find the tools that tend to our souls. We know that no one should bear the burden of imagining a better world by themselves. And so in this moment, we take pause to acknowledge our joys and our sorrows, growing in solidarity, compassion, and strength. I invite you now to light a candle representing a joy or concern. If you could join us in the responsive reading. This comes from your hymnal, number 666, The Legacy of Caring by Thandeka. I will read the print if you could respond in the italicized. Despair is my private pain, born from what I have failed to say, failed to do, failed to overcome.
Be still within yourself. Let me rise to you. Let me reach down to your pain and soothe you.
I turn to you to renew my life. I turn to the world, the streets of the city, the worn tapestries of brokerage firms.
Drug dealers, private estates, personal things in the back of your car.
Rage and pain in the faces that turn from me, afraid of their own inner worlds.
This common world I love you as the lifeblood generation refuse to surrender their humanity in an inhumane world courses through my veins.
From within this world, my despair is transformed to hope.
And I begin anew the legacy of care.
So
Recently, I encountered a documentary about the power of imagination. It centered on a group of quilters, but not the stereotypical ones you might consider when you think about that hobby. These quilters were quilting in a maximum security prison in Missouri. And they met daily in a specially supplied room to learn the art from one another. They debate the various options, designs, colors, cultivating their creativity and finding a distraction from their surroundings. The men in this room are only able to participate in this program if they were without infractions. And many of them are serving long sentences for violent felonies. Yet, despite the violence in prison and the violence in their past, despite the violence embedded in the very institution of incarceration itself, they are tenders to beauty. They create a kind of garden oasis together in that room. The quilts they make are for children in foster care, and they will never meet or know these children, except through perhaps a thank you letter. But by giving in this way, their creativity can find a pathway, just a small pathway, towards their own healing. Creative expressions like writing, painting, crafting feed and nourish us. We collectively and individually remake the world by filling it with beauty. Expressing our imagination repairs us in turn, because through imagination, we discover our own agency, the things we can do, and what make us tick. But within us, there lies another imaginative center, the place where we cultivate our own moral values and assumptions. Tell me about your childhood, who looked after you, the way they treated you, what they did with their time and money when they had time and money to give, the example for right and wrong they set for you. And that from the telling of that life experience, we might understand how the values you hold today were grown and cultivated, how they spring up and continue to be nourished today. A life of purpose and meaning stems in part from this history, this garden, as it were, of influences that shaped you. With a healthy and curious moral imagination, born of carefully instilled values, we shape together what justice looks like. But when our ability to live into these values become compromised, wounds appear. Trauma is not a new understanding. Psychologists have recently identified the term for people whose brains have been altered by experience of trauma and fear, post-traumatic stress disorder, at first applied to war, but known for centuries in that way, in many different names. But there is also another kind of injury, moral injury, resulting from similar traumas which is less well known or understood or even acknowledged. It arises from those who are survivors of, witnesses to, and especially perpetrators of actions that run contrary to their deeply held values of what is right and wrong. When we ask soldiers, or even sometimes medical professionals, to act on our behalf, we often require them to make difficult decisions that have emotionally distressing outcomes. And they may train for them or perform them under orders of others or with the sanction of an institution or of law. But nevertheless, this creates deep spiritual shame. These wounds of the soul and spirit compromise an individual's ability to believe in all that they have been taught and into the very structures of society around them, in the very notion of right and wrong. So whenever moral injury occurs, even in an individual, it becomes injury to our collective ability to cultivate institutions that bring about more just futures. In our Unitarian Universalist belief, we value interdependence. The idea that all of us must strive to support all of us. And so we should be working together to ensure our mutual aid. When we fund institutions of violence, put guns in the hands of people we will never meet or are far away, seek to fund war instead of peace, extract from the earth instead of preserve it, destroy systems that deliver health care instead of design equitable ones. In short, when we accept what is instead of what could be, we find ourselves at the center of actions that create moral injury. So how can we counter this? How can we be of courage and imagination? Where is the repair for all of this? First, I believe we have to harness the differences that are inherent in each of us. I believe what makes our moral imagination so powerful and also, at the same time, so hard to comprehend, so is the variety of our human experience. We may all sit together in one faith community, or even become part of a political party that we think represents our views. And we think, okay, so we more or less agree on what's the priority. But in reality, each of us has a thing that stirs us differently. You may feel, for example, that abandoned animals are more worthy of your time and attention than people. Or you decide to reach out to help children in need in your city than worry about hunger happening halfway around the world. After all, when we think of all the things, all the various needs that need our kindness, that could leave the next generation better than the one we are part of, it is so easy to become overwhelmed with the choices we can make. The things that require our imagination, to respond to. And yet, despite the sense of overwhelm, when we learn about the things around the world just by opening the newspaper that require the attention of our hearts and souls, we need to make an individual choice. Find what stirs you. Find that action that you will take. Look beyond the institutions and the structures and decide to tend to your own moral imagination. The past way of doing things does not have to be prologue. We belong to faith communities of all kinds in order to discover the grounding for what we believe, in order to find the courage. Together, we learn how to practice peace and engage creatively with conflict. We learn to push the boundaries of what is possible. After all, we've seen it. There is evidence, if we look through the long arc of history, of our moral imaginations and choices evolving and expanding over time, in granting women the right to vote, in ensuring civil rights, in looking at stewardship of the earth as a survival issue for all beings. Our spiritual forebears may have had similar values to us, but they did not accept all the things we accept about who deserves kindness, who deserves justice, and who deserves equity. To nourish our moral imaginations and also repair the places where there is woundedness, we need to keep asking, who are we for? What is the scope of our imagination? Am I going to be for the people nearby, the people that look and talk and think the same things I do? Am I going to ignore people who did not vote with me, or people who committed crimes, like those people in that prison, or don't believe as I do? Am I going to ignore a whole segment because I believe they have broken the rules I have set for myself? The work of repair after moral injury especially brings our moral imagination in focus, because we don't often want to think of those institutions that do the difficult work, that inflict harm on our behalf. Wherever societies create institutions and mechanisms of defense or public safety, incarceration, we must also examine moral injury and the role of our imaginations to imagine something different, not just for the lives of people affected, but in our lives too. And perhaps in so doing, in making different choices, we can create peace and limit new forms of oppression. Your moral imagination is as vivid as your creative expression. It may not be readily apparent to all. You may not go to the arts and crafts store to find tools for your for your moral imagination, but it is yours alone. It is for you to decide how you will bring it to bear. It is for you to decide what you need to make your hopes for the world a reality. Do not accept the solutions we have been given about war, about prison, about institutions that separate and dehumanize. Work to equip and educate your imagination. Tend to the garden of what is possible, not just the weeds of what already is. There is a storehouse of imagination out there waiting for us if we just have the courage, if we followed through on the values we possess. We will need everyone's help. And at times, it will feel as if we are failing just as often as when we succeed. But in the end, we will always make progress if we have the courage to start. Blessed be. Amen. Ashe. And shalom. If you could join me in our closing hymn, found in your gray hymnal, number 159, This Is My Song. Our closing words are those of Bill Hamilton Hallway. If I were to wish you peace, it would not be for long. It would be peace to rest, to reflect, to make ready for the coming day, that the full force of your creativity and love might be released and shared. I do wish you peace. Our chalice extinguishing words are those of Theodore Parker. Be ours a religion, which like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple all space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love, its profession of faith, divine living.